As many of you know, GitHub Copilot, the licensing changed. It's taken effect on June 1st, so they're already in that change. Many of you are in negotiations trying to figure it out, and many are going to have more to come. It's really simple now. That's that per user per month model, right? So $19 list price for business, $39 per user per month for enterprise. But now there's an allotment, a pool of tokens, the GitHub AI credits that you can draw down on. And then once you eclipse that, you owe more money. Now, if you're a business customer, that's 1,900. That's the number of tokens you have. If you're enterprise, it's 3,900. Now, they are offering something between June 1st and September where business gets 3,000 and the enterprise version gets 7,000. Okay, but then remember, your behavior may work to that model, but that goes away. Those meters drop back down. So that's kind of a gotcha, but pay attention to that. The tokens are a pooled token, right? So you don't necessarily have to assign anything. You can draw it across your enterprise or your organization, but that also creates complexity, which again, for today, I'm not going to cover, but I would just tell you that you're entering these negotiations, or if you're in these negotiations, yes, per unit or per user per month pricing is critically important. Discounting, volume, discount structures. You've heard me, my spiel on consumption based, right? I would really still continue to challenge Microsoft around where are these token volumes. Like, I know the standards, but how does that impact me? Like, what do you forecast for me? When am I going to eclipse these numbers? What happens when I eclipse these numbers? Show me what you believe our forecasts are, right? Because it's going to be hard for you, the customer, to come up with those forecasts. Put them in those shoes, work through that due diligence around how many forecasting today and the future, because that's going to also create leverage. Because I would just tell you those numbers are somewhat arbitrary, right? All of you have different size organizations, you have different needs, you have different user types, you have different capabilities, you're gonna be drawing down in different levels. So why is it that 1,900 and 3,900 tokens are the right models for everybody? That doesn't make any sense. Put Microsoft in that position to explain. Now, a cost of an interaction depends on the model, right? That's pretty common. And number of tokens consumed. Okay, so when you think about consumption, there's input, output, and cached, right? So that's pretty common across the industry as well. But you have to be thinking about that internally. You need to make sure everyone understands it's going to be using GitHub Copilot, how that works. Because that's how you're going to draw down, which then eats into those tokens, which then either caps you out or requires you to buy more. Okay, that's very important. It's not just input, it's input, output, and cache, right? The context that the model is reusing. Now, each token is priced based on the API rate of the model used, right? And then it's converted into those AI credits. So you need to understand those API rates. Those are generic, those are online. What happens when you are going to need more or move models, or why wouldn't you have a volume discount structure? Why is the API rate for everybody? Why are the token volumes the same for everybody? Similar theme. Put Microsoft in that position to explain. Now, I talked about what happens when you go over. Now, if you have not allowed additional usage, it stops until the next month. You run out of tokens as an entity, you run out, it's capped, great. No additional cost exposure, but you also can't keep using until the next month. So that's probably not going to work as initiatives, as programs, as developments happening. Not going to work. Now, if you allow your entity to have additional usage beyond those tokens, now it gets tricky. Okay, number one, everything then just gets billed based on the public, per credit numbers, right? Everything I just explained to you. Again, pool of things. All of your individuals that are using it, it impacts everybody. Now, you can put caps, but this gets a little tricky. You can put caps at the user level, that's on the shared pool, so how much a user, Bob, is using within the pool that you have available to you, and a cap on what happens if there's additional usage needed, right? It puts a cap on how much he can keep blowing through more money. On the cost center or group, you can put a cap, but it's just on the additional. So the cost center can blow through all your tokens, and then other entities need to start paying for more. And at the enterprise level, you can put a cap again, but it's only on that additional. So there's no cap on that pool of tokens. Trust me when I tell you this, That's a distinction, but an incredibly important one that was set up intentionally. It's set up to drive the flywheel effect. Again, for those who've been following and paying attention to things I've been covering even last year on consumption, that's it. That's why. It's not about the head count, although this model still has that. It's about the additional usage. It's about the tokens spinning and needing to pay them more in term and as you grow. So again, there's a lot here. This is just some of it. If you are considering or are already a GitHub Copilot customer, you need to get this right. You need to look at things, renegotiate when opportunities are there, and make sure you negotiate appropriately before you sign everything. Because if you don't, it's going to be a massive problem that's going to be difficult to correct, again, if you don't set things up correct and appropriately.